Hello, everybody. How we doing? Give me a big thumbs up in the chat if you are live with me. You're experiencing the wonderful thing that is math live and in person as much as we can. I see we got Atlanta in the house. I saw someone said that we got Alaska in the house. And they actually had the nerve to tell us that it was cold in Alaska. That's like saying water is wet. Of course it's cold in Alaska, right? How dare you insult our intelligence? We know that. So, and then someone puts in there live from Florida. Well, Florida, I assume that it's probably beautiful there. So, Darren just said that Stu's wife is home. No, it's basically the dogs are getting just rowdy, all that kind of craziness. So, guys, I also want to know, do I have any first-timers here? Welcome any first-timers. And I see a couple of California people. Just so you guys know, there isn't too much math on your test at all. There's just some basic conversion problems, so you guys won't have some of the more in-depth questions that we might be going over. So, welcome first timers. Give me a big smiley face. Just want to welcome you in here. Just let you know, do my little housekeeping thing. Okay. And the housekeeping thing that I want to tell you is this first and foremost. Welcome to the Stu Crew. Welcome to our webinar here. If you are having any audio issues, if you are having any video issues, it's probably on your end, not on my end. However, could be on my end. So just so you guys know, try doing the refresh on your computer. Also, you might want to come back and hit us back on the recordings. Okay, because you will see us, we have our recordings up there on the website, and they're right here. So if you're like, oh my God, I love what this Stu guy's doing, you could go here, you can see some of my past webinars. You could also go in there, excuse me, and see any webinars from Cynthia, Joe, Adrian. So, yeah, California, you have like a conversion problem or two. So like they always say that you don't have math. So just so you guys know. So we can all be jealous of California, okay? So without that being said, let's jump into the math. And I do want to have a couple of housekeeping things, okay, before I get into the math portion of it. So first and foremost, what I want to tell you is this, guys. A lot of you guys are saying that you're taking your exam soon. Well, good luck to all you guys, okay? When it comes to math, Joe has said in the past, hey, do you need math to pass the exam? The answer to that is no. You don't need math to pass the exam. So that's a great thing, right? You could fail all the math problems. And actually, let me rephrase this. If you have a general base fun little knowledge of math, of just basic arithmetic, like 1 and 1 is 2, you are probably going to get 1 to 2 questions right, Someone said in the chat, every point counts. They do count, and that's why we're doing this, because, look, I'm not discounting math. I love me some math. But what I'm saying to you is this. If you're sitting here and you're not getting any progress with your math, okay? If you're not getting any progress with your math, this is not your low-hanging fruit, okay? It's better to move on, maybe come to it at a different time. Maybe, come back, watch some of the other webinars that I've done on math. Maybe watch some of the ones that Joe, Adrian have done on math. Maybe just have a couple more things. And if it's still not getting to you, then I would say to you guys, just push it aside. Because honestly, this could be a mind melt, okay? And it could be something that, again, would take you a lot more effort to actually get these questions right, okay, rather than some of the other vocab and things like that. Because you have to understand, you're working against 13, 14 years or more of a math foundation where you're like, okay, I know how I approach a certain question. So like you guys might have a certain way that you approach a math question, and you might see my way and go, oh, I would never have thought of it that way. And what happens is we're trying to reprogram that part of your brain to go, okay, what are we going to do in regards to how we approach this? And again, it might not be something that's really easy for you guys. That's why I'm saying to you guys, it might just not be the low-hanging fruit that you are going to really get the most out of. So you might be better off watching a reading comprehension test tip video or listening to some of our test tips rather than trying to dive into the math and drive yourself nuts. So what I will tell you is this. I'm going to start today's session with several of the math tips and tricks that I always go over, and I like making sure that I that I go over these first and foremost. Someone said, I found your Pina Colada Fanta. Pina Colada Fanta is the nectar of the gods. So that is the situation. So here is the situation here. You ready? And you guys are hearing the dogs. I know, the dogs go crazy sometimes. The situation is this. When it comes to math, always plug your numbers in 1 to 2 to 3 times, okay? Because what happens is this, you get the butterfingers, okay? Or you get nervous. Like, there's a lot of times where, okay, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm usually not nervous in front of you guys when I'm talking in public, when I'm doing any kind of webinar or things like that. Public speaking for me is actually really fun. I know, I'm a sick, twisted individual. I like math and I like public speaking. Where did that come from? I don't know. But what I'm going to tell you is this. There are times when I do get nervous, okay? There are times when everyone has the nerves running through them, and especially when you're sitting there taking that test, you know, and especially now there's a lot of psychosomatic things going on where people, you know, have to wear the mask in that situation, and it is an uncomfortable, it is a physically uncomfortable situation. So you are naturally, I anticipate that the best mathematicians in this group are going to sit there and actually plug numbers in incorrectly, okay? So, what I will tell you is this. Make sure that you do your math several times. And also, what I want you to do is this. Make sure you identify, what is the question asking me? What are they asking me in the question, okay? What are they asking me? Because I think that that's something that a lot of people, they just start, this is what they do with math. The typical person, the typical student I get, okay, is this. They'll go into the math and they'll start doing, they'll start, they'll start going to a problem, and everyone loves doing this. They just start multiplying. They just start multiplying numbers together. I had a student that I was working with the other day that we got to a question, and they said, okay, I'm going to multiply by this and then multiply by that. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, why are you multiplying that? And they just kept going, totally ignored what I was saying. And here's what I'm going to say. You have to know what you're trying to get. What is the question asking you? Guess what? That's on every single question. You got to know what the heck they're asking you, because if you don't know what they're asking you, then you're not going to be able to even start to tackle the question. And I haven't done a math session like this where I kind of harp on you guys and I kind of really just dig into the whys. I've really just kind of jumped right into problems, jumped right into amortization tables. So I wanted to take, like I said, a good chunk of time out to kind of beat you up a little bit about the math and what you need to do. So don't just start multiplying things. Someone else said in the chat, I think I want to attribute it to Darren. I don't know. I attribute everything to Darren, it seems like nowadays. Darren, I think, said this, said that you save them till the end. Oh my gosh, we got Montine. So, past national. Oh my God, that's awesome. Congrats. Let's give a big thumbs up, big gold star over there. I hate just, interrupting every once in a while, but I have to do that for the live chat for the people who are with me who are so excited that they passed. Listen, and also too, for those of you guys who haven't passed yet, your day's going to come, and I want you to be excited just like everyone else is. You're going to have your moment, okay? Because you're here with me. You're part of the Stu crew. We don't let you down. So, with that being said, congrats, and this is what I will tell you. So someone else said you and Darren are like this, and they give a little crossed fingers. It's because his name is easy to say, and he literally types every 5 words, and he's always here. So yeah, he is my buddy. But we got to get you to pass, Darren. Got to get you to pass. So what I'm going to tell you is this. I was talking about the I was talking about how you approach the questions. I was saying Darren had a good point where you save everything for the last minute. Here's why. Okay, I always say that math questions are this black pit of despair, and there's a reason I call it the black pit of despair. It's because you could start doing a math problem and then all of a sudden just start going on the math problem and going on the math problem, and all of a sudden you look at your clock and you're like, oh my God, I've spent 15 minutes on this problem, okay? They're time eaters. They're just black pits. So what you want to do is you don't want to fall into those black pits, okay? That is what I'm going to tell you. You want to save them till the end. So that here's what happens. And also, just a general test-taking tip, if you don't know the question, just skip it. Okay? Save everything that has a number as an answer, save it to the end. You don't even assess if it's a math problem or not. Just be like, there's a number there. Ew. We hate those. We're going to save them for the end. So that what happens is this. I also find that when you get into math mode, okay, when you get into math mode, this is what I will tell you. Your brain just kind of gets on a roll, and you get into a rhythm, and it's a good rhythm. It's a good thing, and that's going to help you lift yourself out of the pit of despair and hopefully get some of those math questions answered, okay? So here's what I'm going to tell you, okay? Gretchen said, will you go over problems about discount points? Boom. like I answered your prayers. Let's take a look and see. Might not be discount points, but let's look at the problem, okay? And what I want to do is this. I kind of just sprung it on you. All of a sudden, I'm talking to you about test-taking tips, and then all of a sudden, I just move and groove so fast that we go to a problem. So, yeah, let's jump into it, okay? So let's look at this question. Let's read it, okay? This is the situation. Bob agreed to purchase Betty's home for $200,000. The home appraised for $190,000. If Bob was approved for a loan of 3% over 25 years with an LTV of 75%, how much would Bob be required to bring to closing if he had to pay 2 points in origination fees? Oh my gosh, what's going on here? So, let's talk about this. What are they, and again, here's what I'm going to say. Triple Beam said, I'm new to the website and from Colorado. You're from one of my favorite states. Love Colorado. Colorado's an awesome state. Welcome. Hope you're having a great time. And you're a part of the Stew Crew now. So, oh my gosh, I made that post-it really tiny. Got to make it bigger. So, I hope you're having fun. I hope you're learning something today. Because that's the whole goal here with this, is to get you to learn stuff. Okay? So, now, there we go. I got the question up, and someone said, oh God, that was a long question. Yeah, so I want you guys to type in the chat, tell me, what are we looking for? So look at this question and tell me, what is it that they're looking for us to answer, okay? So, some people are already putting in the answer. Don't give me the answer yet, okay? I don't want to know what the answer is, okay? So, this is... So what they're trying to figure out here is this, okay? So someone said, can you use the T method, please? I will. I'll give you a question that will use the T method, or what I refer to as Pabst Blue Ribbon, the part over the base times the rate. So Circle said, got to figure out what we're bringing to closing. Okay, that is fantastic. Give yourself a gold star. Absolutely. We're trying to figure out what are we bringing to closing, okay? So what is that going to consist of? So let's talk about what that's going to consist of, because there's going to be several components, okay? Several components here about what they have to bring to closing, okay? So they have to bring, okay? So here's what we have to do. Let's figure this out. So the closing, what they're going to bring to closing is going to consist of several things. It's going to consist of any fees they have to pay. okay, and their down payment. So we got to figure out those two things. And now, here's what I'm going to tell you, okay? Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is not super easy to decipher because I threw a bunch of monkey wrenches in here, okay? Because this is going to cover several different topics that you guys like to talk about and ask me about when it comes to math, okay? So, what happens is this. This is going to be a loan-to-value question or an LTV question. This is also going to be a points question. Now, I'm calling them points that are going to be origination fees, but you could have called these discount points for all intents and purposes, okay? So, let me get another sticky note up here. Okay, let me see if I got the right size. Now I got the right size of sticky note, okay? So now we have to figure out what the loan to value ratio is. Like so what are we talking about here? We have to figure out the loan amount, because once we figure out the loan amount, that would give us our down payment, right? We'll know our down payment, okay? So this is tricky because here's a couple things. Bob agreed to purchase Betty's home for $200,000. Okay? So right there, that is the sale price. Okay? Melissa's doing some craziness. Melissa's doing some craziness. I like where she's going with this. You ready? So what happens is this, and I'm going to tell you out loud what we have to do next. So the purchase price was $200,000. However, when we have to figure out the loan to value amount. So the loan to value is the loan as represented as a percentage of the value. So in this situation, we have two things here. We have the $200,000, which is the sale price, and the $190,000, which is the appraised price. What is the value of the home in regards to what we're going to use for loan to value amount? So tell me in the chat. Ooh, Melissa's saying take the lowest between the sales price and the appraisal. Absolutely. So the appraisal is what we're going to be considering for the loan to value amount. Okay. So, $190,000. Now let me ask you this question. Okay. Since Bob has agreed to purchase the home for $200,000, okay? Since Bob has agreed to purchase the home for $200,000, that $10,000, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put that $10,000 on our sticky note, because here's why I want to put that on our sticky note. $10,000 difference. Because we're going to use that later on. Think of that as, you ever watch a cooking show, and what happens is there's some yummy like fat that they've reduced down or something else, and the chef goes, we're going to put that on the side and save that for later because we're going to make something with that, okay? So the $10,000 difference, that's my little fat or seasoning or like pan grizzle that we're going to use later on, okay? We're going to use that later on. So, because we're not forgetting about that. So the value is $190,000. What we need to do is we need to figure out what the loan to value amount is. So we're going to multiply that by 0.75, okay? Now, something that's important that I do want to make sure that you understand, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, know how to convert percentages into decimals, okay? Now, learn how to convert percentages into decimals, because what happens is this. Percentages into decimals, that's another place that people get tripped up. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Don't be moving decimal points over if you're not super confident or you think maybe you're moving too fast. Because here's the thing. Even the smartest students that I have ever worked with, okay? Listen, I always tell you, Mrs. Stu, my wife, is the smartest human being that I have ever had the privilege to meet other than myself. What happens is Mrs. Stu, do you know how many times she comes home and she's doing something and she just moves the decimal point over one spot or to the right somewhere? She is a Cornell graduated Ivy League doctor, okay? Girl, smart. So what happens is this. Do not move decimal points, okay? if you don't know how to do it. So someone said, why can't I just click 75% key? Here's the thing. What I will tell you is this. Do it however you feel comfortable. This is the message I want to get back to you guys, is this. There's a lot of stuff I'm telling you in this one problem, okay? The situation is this. Use whatever you feel comfortable with, but understand that you are going to be more than likely just a general human being where you're going to punch the wrong thing in. So double, triple, quadruple check it, okay? So 190,000 times 0.75, okay? And what's that going to be? Times 0.75, okay? As I have the butterfingers right now, because I'm doing this with you. As you can see, I have no special notes, okay? That's going to be 142,500. Now, that represents what? What does that represent? Because that's a special number. That's a number that we're going to use a couple more times too, okay? So we're going to use that. We're going to put that as our chicken stock, whatever you're going to say in the kitchen of math, okay? We're cooking up some wonderful math problems. So 142,500 is the loan amount. Yep. Loan amount, okay? So we are going to then multiply that by 0.02. And why am I doing that? Stu, why are you doing the loan amount multiplied by 0.02? Well, because now that I have the loan amount, okay, and here's the thing. You guys might not do it in the order that I'm doing it in. However, I'm now getting the points. So what is a point? When I say either a discount point, a origination fee point, what am I referring to? What is a point when we're talking about this? What is a point? Okay. A point is 1% of the loan amount. So now that we've figured out that 75% is the loan amount, and here's the thing, I also want to make a note of this, okay? Something that I'm going to tell you guys is this. 3% over 25 years. Do you know what that is? That's what I refer to as we're going to make food references tonight because I'm just in the mood to do that. Okay? That would be what my wife would refer to as celery. We don't need that. my wife hates celery. She hates celery. So that's what happens. We put that, the 3% over 25 years, that's the celery of this recipe right there. Okay, it's mumbo jumbo, as Beverly just said. Yeah, absolutely. So we don't need that. So here's the thing. There might be some things in questions that you actually don't need to use. So be confident in what you know about the question once you know what they're trying to get you to understand. So let's take 142,500 and multiply it by 0.02, right? That's going to give us, okay, that's going to give us 2,850, okay? So now we need to bring 2,850 to the table. Now I'm going to ask you another thing, okay? I'm going to ask you another thing. The situation is this. We have the points there. Then we have a 10K difference between the sale price and the appraised price. So is the buyer going to be responsible for that? Tell me. Are they going to be responsible for that? Oh, yes, ma'am, Sir Bob. Absolutely. Okay. So 10,000. Okay. 10,000. Now we have to figure out one other thing. There's one other thing we need to figure out. Okay. Here is the situation, okay? We need to get to a situation where we find out what the difference is between the appraised value and the loan amount. So we're going to take 190,000 and we're going to subtract the loan amount of 142,500. And again, maybe you didn't come to it this way. Don't know. But this is how I'm doing it right now, okay? There's a lot of different ways that you could go about the math, but this is the way that I'm doing it. So that's 47,500. If you add the 2,850 plus 10,000 plus 47,500, if I didn't have Butterfingers, if I didn't have Butterfingers and my uncle's name was Bob, you might get 60,350 is the amount that they would have to bring to the table. Okay, and there you have it, just like that. Bang, bang, boogie, woogie. So guys, how'd you like that problem? So if you guys got that number, give yourself a gold star. Give me a gold star too for doing that long problem. Okay. So yeah, this is only one problem, but here's the thing. Matt Napoli, it covers so many different things that you guys always ask me for, and I figured I'd mush it into one word problem for you because I'm devilish like that. So let's look at another one, okay? Let's look at another one because I love giving you guys some difficult questions, okay? Phyllis said, I did not add the 10,000. Yep, and here's the thing too. If you didn't add the 10,000 in there, that would be a situation where you would have that answer as one of the problems. So someone said, I screenshotted that for future reference, just so you know you could rewind it, rewatch it. This is always going to be here for you guys. So let's look at this one because I gave you a slightly difficult tax problem. So let's look at this one. It says the tax assessor determined that a commercial building with a 3.5% mortgage has a market value of $400,000. If the assessed value is 60% of the market value and the tax rate is 63 1/8 mils, what is the annual tax? So guys, what are we trying to figure out here? Okay. So Carlos said that was a lot of minutia. That was. So Darren said we should ignore the 3.5% mortgage. It sounds fluffy. I don't know what fluffy is, but I like it. I think I'm going to add that into my vernacular. Okay, that's going to go into the Stu vocab bank. Okay, so the 3.5% mortgage is fluffy or not needed. Okay, so Esther said we're looking at what is the annual tax. Bang, absolutely. We're trying to figure out the annual tax. Okay. She said math is evil. I actually bought myself a math is fun t-shirt the other day because I'm a sadist like that. So what I will tell you is this. We're trying to find the annual taxes and how we find that out. Okay. The annual taxes is always done by multiplying the assessed value, okay, by the tax rate. Okay, so it always helps to kind of know where you're going to end, okay? It always helps to kind of, because if you understand what it is they're asking, you could then ask yourself, okay, do I know how I figure that out, okay? So yes, that is where you're going to end. So let's first get the assessed value, shall we? The assessed value. So the assessed value is 60% or 0.60 times 400,000. So let me go ahead and do that math with my butterfingers, okay? Let's see. 0.6 times 400, 1, 2, 3 equals $240,000. That's the assessed value. Now, you guys are sweating bullets because not only did I tell you that this is a Mills problem, okay? I gave it to you in a fraction. Oh my God, Stu, what are you doing to us? Why do you not like us? What kind of devilish ways are you trying to give on to us? Now the mills. So a mill, just let's talk about, so what is a mill? Okay? What is a mill? What is a mill? A mill is 1/1000th, okay? So, here's what it is. Very, very simple. It's 63 1/8 over 1,000. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you just a little pointer. This is then for some of you that you might be saying, Stu, we know this. But for others, look, it might not be hitting you over the head. Whenever you have a fraction, it's just the top number divided by the bottom number. That's how you get it into decimal form. So what I would do in this scenario, the first thing, okay, I want to change that fraction, okay? I want to change that fraction into a decimal. So I'm going to do 1 divided by 8, okay? And that will give us 0.125, okay? 0.125. So really what I have here, when I convert 1/8 into a into a decimal, excuse me, I'm going to get 125. So here's what we have. We have 63.125 divided by 1,000, okay? So let's go ahead and do that, okay? And remember, like I said, whenever you see a fraction, if you want to change it into a decimal, just do top number divided by the bottom number. Top divided by the bottom, okay? 63.125, okay, divided by 1,000, okay? And that's going to give us, a lot of you guys are giving me the answer already because you're too fast. 0.063125. So that right there is the tax rate, okay? Awesome sauce. Look at that. That is the tax rate, 100%, okay? So we are then going to take that and multiply it by the assessed value because I told you guys, okay? I told you guys that you would be doing that as the last step, right? I would be showing you that as the last step. So 240,000 times 0.063125 equals 15,150.50. That's the answer right there. C as in kitty cat, okay? And yes, I know kitty cat starts with a K, but that's okay. We'll make it start with the C. Cat starts with the C. So you can see, I am your fearless math leader, and you can tell that even you, who might not feel like you have the brain power to do this, even you could do that because clearly the guy who's leading you can't spell cat. So that's the situation there. You should feel more confident with yourself now. It's been a long day. So I want to go over the Pabst Blue Ribbon method, okay? So the last part, so Amanda, the last part was we multiply, okay? We multiply the assessed value. I'll go back to it just one more time so you see. So here's what we have. We have right over here the tax rate, okay? And we said that what we were going to do is take the assessed value and multiply it by the tax rate. So here we have the assessed value because we multiplied 0.6 to get, okay, to get the assessed value. So we have, this is the tax rate, and then this is the assessed value. We multiply them together, okay, and the situation is that. So some of you guys said it was off by 50 cents. We're close enough. And here's the thing. Sometimes there's some rounding. There's some things in the question. So you typically will not get a math question where the questions are, what was I going to see? You're going to see that they're not going to be so close together that you have to be exact. Okay? So trust the math. Trust the skills that you got. Okay, because that will help you out, okay? So, that's the situation there. And I don't know if I transposed that wrong or if I just wrote it, like, with the 50 cents. I don't know, okay? Because, yeah, there is no 15,150, though, so it would be just that one. Like, they wouldn't give you one that's 50 cents off. I promise you that, cross my heart. So I want to go to a Pabst Blue Ribbon. I want to talk about this for a second, okay? The part over the base times the rate, also referred to as T-bar, okay? So part over the base times the rate. And I just want to zoom in a little more, so bear with me as I take you on the roller coaster a little bit, okay? Just so that I could have this be nice and easy for you guys to see, visualize, all that kind of stuff. So the reason why I call it Pabst Blue Ribbon is because my mentor, he always drank Pabst Blue Ribbon. So that's how I always remember it. But what this is the part over the base multiplied by the rate, okay? So for any rate problem, okay, you could use this method. So this could be used for any rate problem. And here's what it is. Think of this as a tool. You know, this is basically a hammer. This is a drill. This is something to help you understand what arithmetic you need to do. Now, here's the thing. If you get to a problem and you're like, oh, I know exactly what arithmetic I need to do. Do. And you do it, then you don't need this, right? Like you don't need this. But if you do, okay, that is the situation with this. And this is, yeah, the old man that used to hit me with the cane was my mentor. My mentor was an old man. He's still around. So I remember it as Pabst Blue Ribbon, but it is the part over the base times rate. And let me explain to you what I mean by this. So if I know what the part is and what the rate is, then obviously I'm solving for the base. So the arithmetic that I would do would be part divided by the rate, okay, would equal the base. Also, if I didn't have the rate, it would be the part divided by the base equals the rate. And then if I didn't have the part, it would be the base times the rate equals the part. Now, I know what you guys are saying. You're like, Stu, you make it sound so easy, but how do I know what I got? How do I know if I have a part, if I have a base, if I have a rate? How do I know if I have a Pabst Blue or a ribbon? Okay? So someone said, how many problems would you say you can use this for? Okay? Any problem that has a rate, if you could correctly identify, okay? If you could correctly identify the part in the base. Whenever there is a percentage, you can always use this. There is absolutely no problem that is going to have a percentage in it that you cannot use this as a tool. But what I say to you guys is some of you may totally just not need it because you'd understand. But what I'm going to do is show you now how you identify what the part is, what the base is, and what the rate is, okay? So they also refer to this, yes, some people refer to this as the T-bar method because what they do is they draw a big T. So it's a big T. They go part over the base times the rate. So they make it look like a T. So some instructors teach it that way. I just remember my way. You don't need to have a bunch of different ways. But if your way works for you, then that's all. Then that's fine. So, and let me show you. So Steve said, what do you mean by part? Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. So watch this. You ready? Here's a pie. Why? Because I told you we're on a food kick. Okay. Here's a pie. Okay. And let's just say the pie represents a number. Okay. The base is the entire pie, okay? The base is the entire pie, okay? And now, the rate at which Stu takes a slice is this. So that would be 50% because we could eyeball that. And also, we know that Stu is fat. So, Stu took half the pie, okay? So, that is the situation there. You have the rate as the percentage of what you took from the base. And then the part is the actual slice. So let me show it to you in a math problem, okay? Now, let's say I told you, and I'm going to give you a simple one so that you could see how you would apply this problem, okay? I say to you, Sally made 4% commission on a sale of $200,000. Okay. What was her commission? Okay. So Sally made a 4% commission on the sale of $200,000. Now, some of you are probably saying, oh, I could do that really easily. I would multiply 4% into 200,000 and I would get $8,000. Okay. So that would be what I would do, right? And so some of you don't need to do more than that, right? 0.04 times 200,000, okay, equals 8,000, right? So a bunch of you are probably saying that was very easy, Stu. However, let's talk about what it is in regards to Pabst Blue Ribbon, okay, or part over the base times the rate. So the rate is always a percent, right? So we have a rate right here. Now, here's what happens, okay? Here's what happens. We're trying to figure out, is the $200,000 the base or is it the part, okay? So what happens is this. How we identify it is this. There's a rule of thumb. If the rate, okay, if the rate is less than 100%, then the base is always bigger than the part, okay? Then the base is always bigger than the part, okay? So actually, I drew that wrong. I said that greater than. I meant less than, okay? I meant that we had to put it here. It's less than. There we go. Thank you. Less than 100% or equal to, okay? It's going to be the base is bigger than the part. Or actually, if it was equal to, it would be the same, okay? So if it's less than, the base is bigger than the part, okay? And I'm going to put my, you can tell it's been a long day. I'm going to put my equal to because otherwise it would be the same thing, okay? Now, if I said that the rate is greater than 100%, then the base is smaller than the part, right? Because if I told you, listen to what I'm going to say. If I told you that I wanted to have 110% of the apple pie, well, then my slice would be bigger than the whole base. So, again, if the rate is smaller than 100%, your base is always going to be bigger than the part, right? Because if I told you I took a slice that was 98% of the pie, then the slice is going to be smaller than the pie. It's just that easy, okay? So if you see 4%, you see 200,000, and you see the answers are 8, 9, 7, you go, okay, I know that I'm dealing with a base. So this is a base times a rate, okay? And again, it's all about, is this going to be more confusing to you or less confusing to you? Sometimes it is more confusing to people to use the T-bar method than to not. So that's why I will tell you this. It's something that you really have to decide what is best for you. And again, if you're not getting it, that's fine because you don't need the math to pass. So guys, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up today. I just want to remind you what the schedule looks like for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we got Fair Housing with Cynthia at 12 p.m., 9 a.m. Pacific Standard. And we have Grow Your Sphere of Influence with me at 7 p.m., 4 p.m. Pacific, okay? And then Financing with Adrian, and you got me for vocab on Thursday. And then Facebook Friday, everyone's favorite Friday of the week, where you're going to be able to answer your questions, concerns, burning desires. Tag me in your Facebook post, your crazy questions. And don't forget, if you guys want private tutoring sessions, you just click over here and you see my smiling face as well as Cynthia's. We are here to help you guys out. So if you guys do have any questions, concerns, you want to schedule those private lessons, don't forget to go ahead, click on the More tab over on Prep Agent, and schedule a session with us, and we'd be more than happy to help you guys out. But other than that, guys, I hope this helped you out a little bit. Hope it went over some of the things that you were having trouble with math. And again, each of the math sessions are trying to do something a little different, so go back through some of the other math webinars too. And as I said, don't sweat this stuff. You got it, guys. I'm going to see you real soon.